Last year, City Connection revealed that WiZmans World ReTry would be releasing onto the Nintendo Switch. For those who may not necessarily know, this is a full-on remastered of the 2009 turn-based RPG that released on the DS, and now is going to be making its way into the Nintendo Switch with brand new added features, some brand new changes, a couple of brand new story narratives being added in, and a bunch of graphical upgrades. And you'll be able to get your hands on that on May 30th later this year. As of right now, we have direct confirmation that there will be a Japanese digital and physical release, but also a Western localized English version will be made available later in 2024. So for those who are looking to obviously constantly import physical games, you'll be able to do that out of Japan, but a physical version in the West might be a little bit harder to get. For those who may not necessarily know, as a wizard, you use your magic powers and absorb the energy and then evolve 3 homunculi to end up winning every single encounter. As you do that, you basically get to save the entire game's world. And funny enough, this game actually does end up having a pretty decent story. I remember playing it back in the day, and it ended up having a pretty interesting twist towards the back end. But what I find even more fascinating now is some of the changes that we are going to be able to see being added into WiZmans World ReTry. First and foremost, for those who may not necessarily know anything regarding what this game story or lore-wise is all about, basically the city of Wizardest has been cut off from communications from the outside world. Those who have awakened have forgotten who they are, who their neighbors are, and live without any memories of their past. The only thing that they happen to know is that they're in danger of the dungeons surrounding the city and the monsters that inhabit them. The magic they need to counter them is also something that they must seek out. The citizens have been trying to navigate the dungeons for years, but to no avail, and 100 years later, no exit has been found, and now a new wizard is heading into a dungeon to defy the monsters. So that's pretty much the background story. A lot of mysterious things have happened before the game world ultimately is formed on the way that it is. You're going to be facing it, and you need to figure out plenty of secrets. Experience turn-based combat with chains and attributes to lead you to victory. The battles in this game are simple yet deep. Each turn is crucial. Make full use of the timeline above to elaborate your strategy. Read the enemy's HP, attacking every turn. Everybody has a status bar that needs to be basically paid attention to find the most effective way to win a battle. Water is stronger than fire. Fire is stronger than wind. Wind is stronger than earth. Earth is stronger than water. Keep this in mind and use your best attacks to counter the enemy. Use your chain attacks to kill the enemies quickly, and bonus effects increase damage and stats, strengthening your offensive capabilities. So basically, just make sure you use elemental weakness to be able to take advantage of the enemies and be able to down them as fast as possible. Then they also mentioned that ameliorate your party with anima fusion. The player has 3 homunculi at their disposal. At first glance, they look like fairies. Then they have the power to ease their souls of defeated monsters and fuse with them in anima fusion. Thanks to anima fusion, they can use the stats, statuses, skills, and appearance of defeated monsters, adopt stronger abilities, inherit these skills, and create your own powerful guardians. Now, a lot of people in the comment section of the original game's trailer have said that this is a little bit of like a Persona-like. It really isn't, because you don't really get full access to every single monster type that there is. You're simply getting your homunculi to kind of mimic some of those other monsters that you come across, and essentially find the more powerful ones to be able to find a little bit of a powerful mixture for your team and be able to handle enemies a little bit better. Now, something that I remember from back in the day was have basically every elemental power, 1 fire, 1 wind, 1 water, and basically abuse elemental weaknesses on enemies. But then you could use things like have one basically homunculi focus on status debuffs, the other one on tanking, and then the other one on raw straight up piercing damage, and you should be able to handle enemies with ease just that way. What I'm trying to say is that there's different ways for you to be able to power up your team and ultimately get your way to victory. The last thing here that they mentioned here on their blog page, which you're going to be leaving a link in the description below, is that Jaleco, the original developer, was known in the early 2000s for releasing a lot of RPGs. They released this game in the original DS back in 2009 on portable consoles, of course, and it featured well-drawn graphics, simple yet challenging, and difficulties as well being made available. In this remaster, graphics have been revisited, the music has been fully rearranged, new background music has been added, all the background music has been remade as well by Zolai, a relatively good artist, and used the interface for playability, and options have been optimized as well. Experience the new version of the game with the same charm as the original and a couple of new visual twists. So ultimately, one of the things that you do get to see relatively well in the trailer is that a lot of the character portraits and even enemy portraits have been reworked as well. The pixel art has been reworked. I believe the rendering of like the text has also been cleared up as well. Again, remember these games were originally released on a DS or smaller resolution. Pixel art now has been blown up. The cartography and the map has been made a little bit better, and you can clearly see the direct side-and-side comparisons in the trailer, where they essentially make the game look beautiful. If anything, I would argue that the pixel art now looks a little bit more akin to some of the pixel art you do get to see in like indie RPGs, for example, which is not to say that it's bad by any means, but it just looks colorful and vibrant, whereas before, it just, because of again the resolution and the colors, it just didn't necessarily look that way. Now it looks very sharp, eye-popping, and it just really stands out, especially some of the art and the text that has been reworked to properly fill out the screen and everything look great. Certainly I'm a big fan of that. So once again, I certainly hope that they release this game a little bit earlier than we expected to be at the back end of 2024 here in the West, because WiZmans World ReTry is certain of an interesting RPG that came out back in the DS era, and I think a lot of players will be able to have a good time finally discovering this entry onto the Nintendo Switch. It also does make me wonder if City Connection is going to be trying to bring some of the older RPGs from previous generations as well onto the Nintendo Switch. It does make sense at the very least, I would say. If they choose to do that in the future, I would hope that they try to do that, because there were many games that, and not necessarily this specific franchise or IP, but in this specific genre, they did extremely well. It is worth mentioning as well that there will be a PlayStation 5 version of the game, and both a normal and like special edition version as well, like a digital deluxe or deluxe version as well, will be made available. And those versions, or the collector's editions or whatever, digital deluxe versions or whatever, those will end up having like collector's booklets and like art and CDs and stuff like that. So for those collectors who might be looking into imported, you should be able to get your hands on that once it launches on May 30th. If you're brand new to my channel though, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Hit the bell to receive notifications when the videos go up, and as always, thank you so much for watching. See ya.